Hey guys, welcome to the Tower Babble podcast. This is episode 20. Is it 20, Dan, already?
Yep.
Alright, 20 already?
20.
Jesus. And we thought just yesterday we were doing episode 2. That sounded terrible. Hopefully this one doesn't sound so bad. You got a drink today, Dan?
Nah.
No?
Gotta study.
That's never stopped you before.
This is serious stuff right now.
Okay.
I gotta study for.
Well, let me tell you, I'm on antibiotics and I still have a drink.
I'm lying. I haven't fucking drank.
What are you drinking?
It's a Bitburger. It's a German beer.
Bitburger. Never
Yeah.
heard of it. Does it taste like hamburgers?
No, not at all. Actually, that makes no sense.
That's disappointing. It makes perfect sense if the beer is called Bitburger that it would taste like burgers. In my mind,
I think Berg in German is like city, so it's like named after some sort of city or something.
like Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Anyways, this is not at all what our podcast is about.
I know, but you like to be natural, you know.
Yeah. Let it flow.
If it's called Pittsburgh, what does the Pitts mean? Because if it's just Pitt City, that sucks. That doesn't sound like it's not a good like name for anything.
Maybe
really.
it's German for steel or something like that.
It's probably not.
It's probably not.
Anyway, I'm drinking my own concoction because I didn't want to have just a glass of wine, so I added frozen berries and raspberry ginger ale. So it's like sangria a little bit. It's delicious.
I fucking hate you so much, man.
I didn't want to go overdue on like the.
Did you put a little umbrella in it?
You know what? I should have.
Did you garnish it with a?
Daniel, if I had those things, I would have done that.
Penis-shaped ice cubes in it?
No, because that's for girls on their stagette, Daniel.
Yeah,
okay?
no, that sounds like what you're doing right now. But
It's not, because I know you're not a big red wine drinker, Dan, but
No, I'm
sangria is fucking delicious. Okay.
Sure.
So we'll get into it. This is gonna be a little. I think this will be a short episode. There's not much to talk about. Here's the thing. Really slow week, news wise. There wasn't really anything big. Like last week was huge. We had all that Marvel stuff. And we had Thor come out. Have you seen Thor at all yet?
I have.
All right, cool. We can talk about Thor. Other than that, news-wise, not much. But I'll talk about my PS4. I picked that up on Friday.
Oh, nice.
I guess Thursday night, and then today's being Tuesday. I've had it for a couple of days, so I can give a little bit of a review on that. And then, who knows? Maybe we'll talk about whatever. We always usually get into something, Pitt City.
So wait, you actually went and stood in line for the PS4?
No. I pre-ordered it, but I picked it up at midnight. If you didn't pre-order it, you weren't getting one. You know what was really weird about this pre-order? Let me just, offshoot story here. So I was in line waiting to get inside.
So you were in line.
Well, there was a line, but it was just a line to pick up your PS4.
Okay, all right,
whatever. Yeah, sure, Dan. If you want to be a dick about it.
I don't want to be a dick about it. Just don't lie to me.
All right. I did try to slip one past you. So there was 3 or 4 times in the line where there was just random people there just in line, and then when they got to the front, the person was like, "Are you here for the PS4?" And they'd be like, "No." Like, what are you talking about?
I'm just here because there's a line. I figured it was important.
And I don't know what the other people what other people were doing, but this guy or these 2 ladies, older ladies, I was like, I knew right away. I was like, these people are for sure not here for the PS4. I don't know what they're here for, but when they get to the front of the line, this is gonna be funny. So I stayed close, and when they got there, they said they were there for an Xbox 360 replacement hard drive. You know what time of day it was? It was 12:30. What the hell were they thinking that they can get a replacement hard drive? Oh well, there's a line. Must mean they're open.
And they were there to get pictures with Santa.
So I don't know what they were I don't know what they were thinking, and especially the other people. There was a couple other people that got sent away too. They weren't there for the PS4 either. But are stores normally open at midnight? No,
man. People see a line though. They know.
They think, oh well, so there's a party going on there, and it's night at the Roxbury.
Human beings are inherently have a herd mentality that you see a bunch of other people doing something and you gotta do it because otherwise you're gonna miss out.
Yeah, you're right. You can't miss it. It's the line ride at in Simpsons.
It's South Park.
Simpsons?
South Park.
South Park. Okay, yeah. Hilarious. I think the Simpsons do something like that too, though. You get to the end of the line, and that's just the ride. You're just standing in line. Love it. But yeah, so it was it was a little chilly. I'd say it was about maybe 0 degrees Celsius at best. So I guess we'll just start with the PS4. We'll get right into the PS4 stuff. So I was in line. Had some McDonald's before, just tradition, because you need to have greasy food generally before you play any new video game or play a new system. Should have ordered a pizza. That's the most classic. Anyways, I was standing in line, waiting. I'm there for about half an hour, I'd say, before I get my PS4. And I I tweeted out this during the when I was in line, and I stand by it, okay, because I don't normally like EB or GameStop. I think they just operate really weirdly, and they make you feel uncomfortable, and I don't like it. If ahead of time, I would have preferred to have done it at Best Buy, but eBay is so much closer and usually less people there at this one anyway. There's always one EB employee, at least one, that's super fucking weird. Like super weird, smells funny, makes you feel awkward just by being there. Yeah, it usually smells funny. I don't know. I can't. This one did. I can't speak for the others. But there's usually at least one weird one, and there was for sure a weird one here, and like he was trying to sell every single person on the like EB extended warranty, which is how much it is for 1 year of the EB's extended, like their disc protection plan. $3. It's like that. But the console version is $80 for 1 year. It's like $150 for 2 years or something like that. Save $10. Yeah, 2 years. But he would say the exact same line in the exact same way every single time. Like he'd be like, "Well, would you like to get the extended warranty on that?" It is a launch. It is a launch system. That doesn't work if you're going
through the line like person to person to person.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like it is a launch system. It coming. It is a launch system, and launch systems do tend to have more problems. Like I'm okay, and like every single person said, "No, I don't want to." No. But funny, I should say no, because I'll get to that. So I finally get there. I get my PS4, and I take it home. I have to. So it was a Thursday night. So I had school the next morning on Friday morning. So I didn't want to play super late, but I picked up. I just wanted to play some Resogun or something, whatever. So I get it home, unbox it, get really excited. I'm looking at it, get it all set up, and plug it in. It's working fine. I'm like, it's nice. It looks a lot similar. XMB is very similar to the PS3's version, but more intuitive, less annoying. Less scrolling, essentially. But it obviously, like every new product ever that comes out on like with technology, you needed an update as soon as you got it, right?
Yeah.
So update 1.5 is the first update. So you have to do that before you can sign into PSN. And so I do that, download the update, and then it restarts, and nothing. I see nothing. Nothing's on the screen. I can hear the music playing, but nothing is on the screen. Wow. So I'm like, fuck. I've been reading online and stuff on IGN and other sites about HDMI issues with the PS4, and I'm like, God, no! It's 0.4% of people have this problem. I don't want to be that 0.4%, right? So I give up. I'm trying everything. I give up and go to bed. So the next day I wake up, I go to school. So this is Friday now. I come back home, I think at lunch, and I'm trying different stuff. And I go into my TV settings, and I go to watch TV, and I find out that my TV cable box is weirding out. I'm like, well, this has got to be related to the PS4 thing. So I reset all my HDMI the settings to factory, and then both the PS4 and my cable box start working. So it's the weirdest problem. I talked to PS4, the Sony support about this. They've never heard about this before. About my PS4 plugging into my TV and then freaking up the TV, and it gets all confused, and then none of the HDMI ports work. Man,
it's Skynet.
Yeah.
PlayStation got into your system.
Remember the PS3 had that whole that whole thing. If you just left it on, that one thing that would do you could do supercomputing. So for every PS3 that left this one little program on, it would be connected to one big thing, and then it would use all these PS4s for or PS3s for supercomputing. Do you remember that at all?
No.
It was like a weird science project thing. It was like, remember, it was in under your like network settings. You would go down, down, down. There'd be like PlayStation Home, and then there'd be that one other thing. It was that one other thing.
Well, I never subscribed to that, thank God. But
It would not okay, but it was like universities and research institutions would use it to do supercomputing on a large scale by using everyone's PS3s as a means to do the computing. You know what I mean?
it's a conduit.
Kind of cool. Sure.
Yeah. I don't
Anyway.
know. It sounds like a
I
good
don't
word
know.
for it.
Conduit.
Conduit.
Okay. They like
A
the
node.
game. Ooh, nodes and conduits. Now we're talking like professionals. So what was I saying? Okay, so yeah, it freaks out my HDMI port, and I talked to Sony support. They don't know. Okay, and fuck Sony support for a second. I'm gonna be really
For
upset
1
about
second?
this. For 1 second, just the tip.
Not even worth it.
It's just the tip, just to see how it feels. I talked to them, and they're like, yeah, they go through all the thing. Yeah, I haven't heard about this problem. Blah blah blah. Okay, what we'll do is we'll have the maintenance or whatever they call it. The people that'll send you a box and have to send them your PS4 in. They'll have them contact you. I'm like, oh really? So how, like, by email, what, by phone? Oh yeah, they'll call you in an hour or two. Like, I'm thinking, like, it's 9:00 at night already, so they're gonna call me at 11. And so no, they don't. He hangs up the phone, and I haven't. That was 3 days ago, and I have not got a call from Sony.
So you just can't use it?
Well, no. I every once in a while I reset my HDMI settings, and then my cable box and the PS4 started working. So I'm like, okay, and then it happened again. So every time, it's really annoying having to reset your HDMI settings every single time you want to use your PS4. Let me tell you, not fun. So I'm gonna have to call them back and be like, listen, you hung up the phone on me last time. Not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me talk to whoever's in charge around here. I don't want to be that guy.
You should also just unplug everything before it takes over your household, just to be safe.
I did, just like in Simpsons with Pierce Brosnan.
Like, just quarantine that shit right now, just to avoid the future apocalypse. It's on you now.
I'm like John. What's his name? Shit.
Connor?
Yes. John Connor. I was going to say it. You didn't have to say it. I was going to say it. Okay. That, issues aside, I'll probably have to send it back and get a new one. And then maybe it's my TV. Don't know. But I'll send it back, get a new one. If it's my TV, then you know what? Guess what I'm getting next? A new TV.
You know what else is freaking me out now? Because you keep sounding like a robot over this Skype, and now I'm worried that it's not just a connection problem, that it's PlayStation taking over your computer and everything.
Oh shit! Is it like, does it come in and out, cut in and out?
It's in and out. It's like it's trying to send me a message or something.
Oh Jesus! It's already happening. Although no, it happened last week too. So we can't rule that. I don't think it affects the recording. So people are like, I don't know, I don't get it. He doesn't sound like a robot to me.
Okay.
So what was I saying? Okay, so I finally, everything aside, launch issues aside, because that happens, whatever.
Sure.
I go when I get my Battlefield 4. I have Resogun to play. So I only have 2 games. There's another game on PSN that I can get with PS Plus for free called something about shadows or something like Contrast. I think it's called Contrast. But I heard it's not very good, so I don't really want to play it. Not that I have anything else to really play, so it's kind of, which is another whole thing. So apparently the patch 1.5 messed up a lot of like EA's games, so like Need for Speed and Battlefield, and I think those are the only 2. I think there might be maybe one. Oh yeah, Madden and FIFA fucks with it, so it crashes all the time. So half the time I want to play Battlefield, it crashes like a computer game and goes right back to like the home, like the XMB.
Shit.
Yeah, but the few times that I have played Battlefield 4 were a lot of fun.
How often does that happen though?
Not very many. And also, there's how you're supposed to be able to play 64 players online?
Yeah.
I have not played a single 64 player match. There's just no servers. There's no Conquest servers. Conquest being the best mode.
There probably aren't that many people online with it right now, right?
No, there's enough. There's 1 million PS3s are sold.
It's a new system, so like let's assume that like a certain like a fraction of people are having the same kind of problems that you are, and then a fraction of those people even happen to buy Battlefield. Like, like give that some time to find servers for Battlefield.
I get it, but like the servers don't exist. Like even if I wanted to go, it's not like there's empty servers for 64-player matches. There's no Conquest matches. Conquest being the best mode in Battlefield, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And there's no Rush that are 64. I don't know, although I don't know if they do 64-player Rush. It might be only 32. I have played a 32-player Rush mode, though. That was fun. And so no Conquest, which is all I care about. Like, all I give a shit about is Conquest. And all I really care about is multiplayer. I played one level of single player. It's kind of boring. I played it before, like, my internet was working, so I kind of just... And they sunk the one trophy I got, and then I'm like, I think I won't play this again for months. But it's fun. Like, it looks really cool. There's a lot of new, really awesome features. I like some of the things they did. Like, I'll just talk about Battlefield 4 for a second. And we had a big, long talk about how we thought how we hoped things would be in Battlefield 4. That was a couple episodes ago. Remember we talked about it for like an hour, just Battlefield 4?
You talked about Call of Duty a lot last episode.
Yeah, and I was pissed about it. And I'm not going to talk about it again. I'm done with Call of Duty.
Buddy, I was done with Call of Duty like 2 games ago.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And I came back. I come back 2 games later. Nothing's changed. That's kind of fucked, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but this isn't a Call of Duty talk. We did that last week, and I don't want to get into it again.
Battlefield, is it as awesome as we anticipated?
Yeah. So okay, spotting soldiers. You know how that's key in.
Yeah.
So it was the select button for a long time. At least on consoles, on Bad Company and Battlefield 3, it was select. So they moved it now. Okay, so with the new DualShock 4, they have the shooting and aiming mapped to L2 and R2, kind of like they have for the Xbox, with the triggers instead of the bumpers, which works better now because the new bumpers on the DualShock 4 are great. Side note, DualShock 4, awesome. I don't even want to play with the DualShock 3 anymore. So they have the spotting mechanic mapped to R1, which makes so much more sense because now you don't have to take your thumb off of anything. You can just kind of like, if you're looking at someone, boom, spot them and then shoot or whatever.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What's your grenade though? Is it L1?
Yeah, L1 is grenade.
Okay.
No, yes, because sometimes I forget that because R1 used to be grenade. Yeah. So I would just spot someone and then they would shoot me before I could throw the grenade. Or I would try to spot someone and forget that it was R1 and then press L1.
Oh, that does
make
a lot of sense because like it was a lot simpler when we played Battlefield 2 for the computer because it's like where you were aiming, you could right click. So like R1 is going to be clicking on wherever you're aiming already, right?
Exactly.
That makes sense. A lot of sense.
Which is, I thought that being seems minor, but it was a pretty big deal. Like at first, I didn't know how to spot someone. I tried pressing the option button. Option button being the new start button didn't work. I also like that the new touchpad on the DualShock 4. It's kind of cool. So when you're in Battlefield 4, you can click it down. It's like its own alternate button, so it can touch, and it's a click as well, kind of like R3 and L3. By clicking it, it takes you to your battle log thing, and it just brings it right up and shows like your progression, shows whatever friends are online. You can create missions or whatever, which is kind of cool. I haven't done this yet with friends. You can create missions, so you can say kill so many people with handguns over a certain amount of time or whatever, and then the first person to do that gets like an achievement or whatever on their battle log against their friends. So it's like mini things between just you and your buddies. What else have they added? A whole bunch of weapon customization is a lot more deep. So is player customization, a lot more camos, like a lot more. That like there's like forest, sand, and then in those is subcategories of like, well not, but just like multiple versions of forest camo, sand camo, snow camo. All have to be unlocked, obviously, but whatever.
I don't know. I don't really care much about the camos.
It does, man. The graphics are so good.
No, I'm sure it's a beautiful game. I think in terms of weapon customization, I care more about like attachments and like.
Okay, so obviously they have the same deal as the BF3, 2 weapon attachments and 2 accessories. So for instance, assault / medic has your underslung like grenade or smoke launcher or whatever, right? Or you can have your defibrillators and med bag. But what I thought was cool is that you can change which, like left and right on the D-pad, obviously use those, right? So you can change which, if you want the defibrillators on the right D-pad or if you want them on the left on the D-pad, you can change that. You can swap them out. So at first I didn't even realize how that was because it was always right on the D-pad for defibrillators and left for med bag. So I had it switched by accident. I didn't know how that worked, so I was always pressing the wrong one, and that was annoying. So I was like, I got to be able to change it. So I went in and I found out you can switch. You can put them wherever you want, which is really cool. Down on the D-pad is still change your weapon setting from auto to single shot to burst or whatever.
Yeah,
the weapon supports it, which is always helpful. So there's another feature they added. This is one of the things that people have been talking about for years, was the cantered sights. So a lot of modern like actual guns have a like scope on the top, and then if you tilt the gun to the side, it has iron sights. So you can do long range and short range at the same time, essentially.
sweet.
But the weird thing, which is a really cool thing, and I really liked it. I liked the idea of it at first. So I had a couple weapons with it on once I unlocked it, and it does help because Battlefield has a lot of that whole move from outside large environment. Having a scope really helpful to moving inside to a building, or having close quarters type aiming is very helpful as well, right? But instead of it being down on the D-pad like where the changing settings is, it's up. So to get to the up on the D-pad, it is way longer than it would take to get to the down on the D-pad, which is right next to the thumb, making it almost useless, because to change to close range takes too long. Like in real life, you'd be able to just tilt your weapon. That's instant type thing. But because how long it takes to get your thumb over there.
So what you're saying is like if you were going into a close quarter situation, you would have to change the sights and then also change the settings from semi-auto to automatic or whatever.
Yeah. So you have to be.
You have to do both.
Yeah. So you'd have to. So you going into the building, you'd be like, okay, let me press up on the D-pad so that when I start aiming, it'll be cantered. It'll be iron sights instead of my ACOG. Mm-hmm. And then let me change it from single shot, which I've been using for long range, to auto, which is 2 different button presses. The 2 different button presses doesn't bother me. It's just how long it takes to change it bothers me, making it almost useless.
I don't know. I'd have to play it to know what you're talking about. It doesn't seem like a really big deal. Just
it's not. It's
hearing
really,
you say it, but
it's really minor. It's just something I noticed. It's not a big deal at all, actually. I don't even know why I brought it up. It took a long time to explain, but those are the type of things that they've added. There's so many different scopes. Like they have them broken down short range for like red dot and holographic, medium range, ACOG, rifle scope, and then you have like long range and you have ballistic scope, and they have. I've only played 2 of the classes, same as they were on Battlefield 3. With assault being /medic, same idea.
Yeah.
Support, which has got like the ammo, you got the big machine guns. Recon and engineer. Recon is cool because they changed it back to more what it was in Battlefield 2. So you can equip an assault rifle or carbine and have some C4, and you can go out and like go behind enemy lines and blow shit up.
Like Spec Ops.
Yeah, like the Spec Ops class in BF2, essentially.
Nice.
They also have a couple new additions to the Recon thing, which I kind of think is cool. They have a rangefinder for knowing how far people are in the distance. So you can, and there's certain scopes that you can set range, so that when you aim at people's head, like it'll like hit their head instead of having to. I haven't used it, but it seems like
it'll try to like tell you how to adjust your aim.
Yeah, so it gives you an adjustment on range, so you can adjust for range, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's useful for sure.
Yeah. Other than that, very similar. It looks really cool. I haven't played any of the new. There's a new mode. I can't remember what it's called, but it's essentially a random bomb will spawn in the middle of the map, and then both teams go to get this bomb. And then once they grab the bomb, they have to bring it to something on the other team's end and blow it up, essentially. I haven't played that because it's also really a big player mode, and they haven't like a 32 or a 64, and they haven't.
It's like a reverse capture the flag.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So instead of taking it back to you take it to them, which is kind of cool. But I played the regular stuff like King of the Hill, big domination. So King of the Hill, capture a point, takes really like not as long, and then you just hold that for whatever as long. Team squad deathmatch, team deathmatch. It's the destructibility is really good. There's like, it's similar to how you would expect it. Like if you know what something looks like, you know how it'll break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's like awnings on certain buildings in the game, like glass awnings that if you blow up, they'll fall, so you can make a ramp to get up to the awnings, which is kind of cool. But you always know like that's how it's gonna work. Elevators are in the game, so you can go. There's certain levels where there's like skyscrapers or taller buildings, so you can go into the building, go into the elevator, close it, and take it all the way up to the roof.
Okay, so is that like one of the building, like that building in the trailer that ends up being
so
shut
that one
down?
has an elevator in it, but that building can fall and collapse.
Okay, what
entirely.
happens if you're in the elevator when it gets knocked
You
down?
die.
You just die? Have you done that before? Is it...
I haven't played a level that big yet. That's Conquest and Rush where those things happen, and I've only ever played one level of Rush. But like, so there's another one I played. I don't remember what it's called now, but it's because I was playing Domination. It was a smaller area, not like a full size map. And there's one like mall, like shopping mall, that you can go to the top, and then on the roof there was like a atrium, glass atrium, so you could shoot through the atrium and then hold the roof because there's only one way up, which is, I mean, kind of cheap at the same time. It's kind of cool because there's no capture point up there, but you can get a lot of kills or whatever. I haven't used all the gadgets and everything, but it seems more in depth. The graphics are great. The shooting is great. Like, I have no complaints. There's a lot of those things that you don't see often in Call of Duty where you get like people killing each other, but there's a lot of like shoot each other and both die kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I think they fixed in Battlefield 3. There was less of that after they added a patch. Same thing with Bad Company. Remember we were playing that a lot? Like half the time you'd shoot someone, they would shoot you, and you would both die.
Yeah.
Which is really annoying.
Do they have like a battle recorder thing or anything like that?
So, good question. They have the PS3 or the PS4 is built with a share capability. So the PS4 is always recording your last 15 minutes at all times.
Okay.
So at any time you can press the share thing, go back, save that chunk of time, edit it up into just the piece you want, save a screenshot or whatever. So it's essentially it's without it being inside Battlefield, the PlayStation 4 allows you to share videos of that you've recorded yourself. So, and I don't think how many matches in Battlefield last more than 15 minutes. Some of the Conquest ones for sure do. Rush sometimes does, but if something cool happens,
you can always just hit it.
You can just like next time you die, just go in and start like something really cool happens. Obviously, you don't just do it for any cool headshot or whatever, or maybe you do. I don't know, up to you. But you can, and then send that out onto your. I think they only have 2 accounts that they have set up. It's Twitch and Twitch TV and something else. You can also stream. So if you're playing Battlefield 3, or 4, you can stream your whole match onto. There's a little tab in the XMB called like I don't know what it is, but you go in there, you can see everyone's streams or whatever. So you can go in there and watch different people play games. Some people really like that. It's a huge part of YouTube stuff is the whole Let's Play stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool. The PS4's controller, the DualShock 4, has a kind of like the Xbox does, has a mic plug-in in the controller. But it turns out you can also plug in like you can plug in like iPhone headphones, plug it in there, and you can get like game audio right through your controller wirelessly, essentially. Well, essentially wireless, it's wired to your controller. But like that's pretty cool. And also like the microphone that you're using for the same idea, the microphone that you have attached to your iPhone headphones, that little one on the cord, will work for group chat. Group
sweet.
chat being like, so cross game group chat, cross game chat has been added now for the PS4 for up to I think 8 people, which is kind of cool. But since none of you guys have a PS4 yet, I can really use it for anything.
Yeah, I don't really regret that. You're having all these bugs from the get-go. I'm pretty happy with my decision.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. There's also not a lot of really good games. So you have Sky Zone. Or,
yeah, so like I'll give it a couple of months and then get it. The price might drop a bit, and
well, I wouldn't bet on the price dropping a lot. At least not for at least a year. But it's also not that expensive.
No, it's not. It's really not even about the price. Well, I mean, it is to a certain extent, but it's also like I got a lot of shit. Like,
well, yeah, that
to do.
Let's be honest, the launch games aren't that impressive. Yeah, Battlefield 4 great. Call of Duty for people who like it probably great. Assassin's Creed, we're not going to get into it. But Dan doesn't. Yeah, for people who like it, apparently it's been really good for the PS4. There's been certain the launch lineup as far as like exclusive haven't really been good. There's been what's it called, Killzone Shadowfall. People have been saying good things, but Killzone 3 kind of killed it for me. I'll maybe pick it up if I get bored of playing nothing on my PlayStation. But other than that, like there's not much, like there's no killer Uncharted or like Mario. I'm blanking here. N64. Mario 64.
Yeah.
Like that was a launch title. That was huge. I think it was Halo original launch title.
Halo was an Xbox launch title.
Yeah, so like there's nothing like that where it's like you have to get this game. You have to get this console to play this game. At least not yet.
Luigi's Mansion.
Was that a launch game?
For GameCube?
Yeah. Hey man, Luigi, it's the year of the Luigi. This is
yeah.
You can talk about it next year.
I could
okay?
care. There's.
It is
I could not care less
Luigi.
about that. Luigi.
But yeah, so
the year of filler, the year of stalling for time while you don't
while they wait for
while your Wii doesn't sell any titles.
while we're waiting for Super Smash Brothers.
The year of using green instead of red to see if that changes anything.
And it probably made things worse.
Yeah.
So overall, my thoughts on the PS4. Awesome, like everything's so fast and snappy. I have a few problems.
Works.
Yeah, when it works. I'm having a few issues, but I mean, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, knowing that I'll have this system for the next 10 years. So the first couple days, when you really think about it, aren't really that big of a deal. Other than that, it's a good system. It's a quality system. I'm really excited to see how it evolves over time, from now till when PS5 comes out. Because it'll be so different. It'll be so different. I mean, there's not even a YouTube app yet, and like that'll be coming. You'd assume.
Of course.
So, anyway, Xbox comes out this week. I'm not picking up. I'm not made of money.
Yeah.
So, I'll be, following the internets, seeing how people are, enjoying that. Let's see if they have a similar problem like the Red Ring they did with the Xbox. They've probably figured that one out already, though. Sony's yet to have that.
It's like, do you think I should pick up an Xbox just so we have two different opinions? Like, I don't know. No, I'm not going to do that.
Well, no, you'll probably end up getting both eventually, though.
I don't know if I'll get both. Like, last generation was the last time I'm going to be able to do that, I think.
Well, okay, Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner, the Freakonomics guys.
Yeah.
Listening to their podcast, they had an interesting point, which I think was, I don't know, very applicable. Not necessarily this, but it is that Stephen Levitt thinks that people, when they're young, should spend more, and they should save less than they do when they're older, because you're never going to make less money than you're making right now, essentially.
Not only that, like, you're not risking as much either.
Well, no, but I mean, so there's no point in saving because the amount of your savings is too much of a large portion of your income. Spend now while you can live or whatever, right? And then when you're older, when you're making the most amount of money, that's when you save, and that's when it makes the most sense.
Well, it makes sense as a proportion of your income.
No, but not even that. You're never gonna make more money now. You can take on debt now because you're gonna be able to pay it off later. Essentially, is what he was saying.
In theory, yeah.
Yes, unless something terrible happens.
No, I mean that's
college-educated people.
No, that's kind of the philosophy that you and I and Jeremy have subscribed to this entire. Like, we buy all these video games and movies and crap like that because, like, eventually when we have, our own place, our own setup, all this stuff is already there. We have hours and hours of entertainment.
Yeah, it's not like we ever are strapped for cash. And Jeremy always talks about how he's like, yeah,
Jeremy's the
it
worst
seems
one
like-
for it.
yeah,
He
you
buys,
spend a
he
lot-
buys games and movies and comics and like doesn't even
for
touch them
systems
for
he doesn't
months.
even own.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
But he always says, like, you know, sure, $100 seems like a lot for one purchase, but like you won't even notice it in a month. Like you could do it again if you wanted. Like you wouldn't even notice it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously like a limit to that, but I understand.
There's this advertisement on Skype right now with Boston Pizza that says free pizza. Roll over to find out more. I'm very tempted.
I mean, it says free pizza, so
Yeah.
like, how can you go wrong?
I mean, tell me more. Tell me more, Boston Pizza.
It's like saying free blowjobs. Like, I'm obviously gonna click on it.
Really?
Yes,
I feel like
every
I'll fall
time.
for free pizza earlier than I'll fall for free blowjobs.
Giving my credit card to so many numbers that I don't understand.
Just all these charges, I just don't know where they're coming from.
But I got a million free blowjobs coming my way. Just trust me.
One day. Oh. Okay. As for news, what did we have for news?
Well, we both watched Thor. I don't know what else has been going on, really.
Well, I'll touch on a couple of things before we talk about Thor. So Marvel, this is like, I'm telling you, bottom of the barrel stuff, man. Marvel has a new logo in front of their movies, Daniel. I don't know if you noticed at the beginning of Thor.
Skip.
I thought it was interesting the reason they talked about it. So when you Feige, obviously the in charge of Marvel Studios,
Yeah.
at Disney, said that the original Marvel logo that you see, but you've seen before every other movie. You know what I'm talking about? The flipping pages,
The comic books turn into the Marvel, yeah.
and you see the Spider-Man and everything was designed for the first Spider-Man movie, and whenever that was, like 2003 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those movies came out on VHS. Like that's how old those were. Okay. Spider-Man 2 is somewhere in my house on VHS. They said that this because Thor 2, I don't know if you noticed this, Thor 2, I didn't. Thor 2 is the first movie that doesn't have any other studio's logos before the movie starts. It's only Marvel. There's no Universal, there's nothing.
No, I didn't think to even look for that.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't think to, but it's something that it's kind of interesting to think about. Every other Marvel movie up until now has had some sort of distribution partner or production partner that's had portion of their stuff, and so therefore they get the credit thing at the beginning. Universal was a lot of them. So this is the first one, Thor being the first, and probably for continuing since Disney bought them. Continuing on as being just Marvel Studios in front of every other movies. So they liked the flipping, but there's no flipping sound, which I don't like. I like the flipping page sound. So you still see the flipping of the pages. I'm doing a flipping motion with my hands right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
You can tell?
I can't tell.
You could. So
I assumed. I pictured it anyways. Though.
Yeah. So this flipping motion looked more like me stirring a bowl of something with my hand. I don't know why that was
just
flipping.
making scrambled eggs.
So I have like my bottom, like a hand looks like a bowl, and then my top hand is like rotating around it, like it would be flipping a, like you would be flipping page quickly, but it looks nothing like you would do actually flipping a page. So it's
none of that.
It
is
turns
good for podcast,
it turns
by
three.
the way.
No. It's all gonna be in there.
Visual,
It's all in there. I described it with my voice, Dan.
Yeah.
So it turns 3D. So the flipping the pages, and then there's like a 3D effect that like the Marvel words come up. I don't like it as much, essentially, but I don't like change, so I don't like anything new.
But you love the PS4.
No, I'm indifferent. Well, I like it. I don't hate it. But that's not change, Daniel. That's advancement. It's different. I like the PlayStation already, so the PlayStation 4 is an easy
to
sell.
get an Xbox. That's fair. All right, I understand.
What other news, man?
I saw the chick that's gonna play Scarlet Witch on Jon Stewart Daily Show.
Oh yeah, okay. With that redhead? I don't know if she's actually a redhead.
She's actually blonde.
I mean, like, she will be redhead.
This is again bottom of the barrel, like me scrounging for ideas. I saw it the other day, and she seems legit. She seems like she's like actually like she talked a little bit about it, but she wasn't able to say much about the role. But she seems like she's conscious and like honoring the role.
She knows about she.
Like she doesn't seem like because she's a really young actress, and like she seems like she's honoring the role. Like she's taking it seriously. Like
I think it's really cool. I guess and
she's kind of cute. So I'm excited for it.
Every company, DC and Marvel both do this. When a character, like an actor takes on a role for a character that's not been portrayed or they haven't done before, they just get sent like a package full of comic books. Like, read this. And they have a guy.
They have to, yeah.
No, they have a guy specifically at Marvel and at DC that's only job is to find the best stories for that character and like make a compilation for when that happens. So I assume that like they haven't cast anyone as Ant-Man yet, right?
Not that I know of.
They have someone at Marvel right now making a list, packaging it together of all the best Ant-Man stories. You know what I mean? And that's kind of cool. I just think I like the idea that I want someone to send me I want to be able to get access to these lists. I want to say like, I really like this character.
Man, I want the job. Like, I want whoever's job it is to compile those lists.
You have to be so knowledgeable though about everything.
You have to go through and like understand like what are the concise Ant-Man stories, like what really defines his character. A lot of that, like, I don't know, like would you include the stuff where he beats his wife, or is this just the inception of the character?
I don't know. I'm guessing they're probably not going to go that way.
Well, he's not going to do it in the movie, but it's still part of his character, so he has to like bring that to the role, like his,
that he's not,
like he's not a perfect, always in control kind of deal.
Well, the rumors for the casting were that it would be a comedian cast as Ant-Man, like someone who's more of a.
Here's what I'll say about comedians: exactly, like comedians, like, I mean, it's hard to say because obviously there are like fantastic actors that are not comedians. But like a lot of comedians are able, like even Robin Williams, even Adam Sandler. You say what you want, but if you watch Spanglish or one of those, like he's done a couple serious movies and he does a decent job of it. Like they're able to really immerse themselves in the role.
Mm-hmm. What's that movie that's like Adam Sandler's in it? It had a bunch of comedians, but it's not funny. It's actually really sad.
Funny People?
Funny People, yeah. That's
it's got a bit of both. Yeah, no, that movie made me cry for sure.
That's a fucking sad movie.
Not quite cry,
super well, it's depressing. That movie.
Adam Sandler movie makes me cry is Click. That movie makes me cry.
Oh,
absolutely.
Time. That is a tearjerker for sure.
I highly recommend Spanglish. It's not at all a comedy, but it's a decent movie.
Okay, but like, Click. Can we just talk about this for a second?
Yeah, Click makes me cry. I'm not afraid to admit it.
No. I'm not talking about that. That's fine. I admit that too. Sad ass movie. But like. That's just a good movie, and there's some great supporting roles in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I am, and always have been, and always will be in love with Kate Beckinsale. So.
Are the Underworld movies your favorite films of all time?
They aren't, but like I also don't believe that she can do any wrong, so it doesn't matter. So like, they aren't good movies, and I know they're not good movies. The last one was like made for TV, and it's really like I watched it on my video on demand, and it was really bad. But
is that the one with what's that one called? Reckoning or?
I don't even remember. It's like the fourth one. It's like it was made like the first three, like the trilogy. They were all released in theaters, and they all had their high budgets and whatever. But this one was noticeably like there was a noticeable lack of budget or lack of resources.
but she was still in it. You know what there was in there though? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only things I've ever cared about.
What were we talking about?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, we were talking about the people that compile those lists of things for Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that would be a cool job. We didn't talk about this last week. This is actually last week's news. I forgot to mention it. It was the new Lord of the Rings third-person adventure game.
Yeah.
That's coming out. Middle of Earth, Shadow of Mordor.
You don't have a lot of details, do you? Like, is it an MMO or what? Or is it just like an adventure, like RPG game?
I think it's probably gonna be more like an RPG. I don't think
Hopefully.
it's an MMO. There's already
they already tried that MMO stuff with Lord of the Rings, but
yeah, I mean, I think it can work. It just you have to do it differently.
Of course, it's a huge world. Everything that I read said that it was like a new dark story that takes place at the same time, but it's not connected necessarily.
That's kind of cool.
But there will be obviously they're gonna throw in a few cameos and stuff, Easter eggs.
So when you talk about movie games, there's not a lot of good ones. Out there, obviously.
You mean movies based on games or the other way around?
Like movie games, so like games that are made for the movie that's coming out, whatever. Like remember the first Iron Man had one that was really bad.
Yeah.
And there's a period of time where every big movie had a video game attached to it. And they all were terrible.
Matrix Reloaded had a really... It wasn't called Matrix Reloaded, it was called Matrix something else, but it was a really good game.
Actually good?
PlayStation 2. Just so you know.
Okay. But I was getting somewhere with this. The
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings tie-in games for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
Or is that PlayStation?
Yeah, yeah. No, PS2.
PS2, GameCube. I don't know if they came out with the GameCube. Probably not. Anyway, we played the shit out of those games, and those are fun. It was
We did.
essentially.
I remember when the third movie was coming out. We got it. We literally stayed up all night. All of us playing
Yeah.
all of you watching me play that game.
And it was essentially a brawler, a side-scrolling, like 3D tilted side-scrolling brawler, essentially.
It's all you need, man. It had a little bit of obviously your skills had a upgrade system and everything, but it wasn't complicated. But it got the job done.
It was a lot of fun, though. Let me tell you. So if it's anything, okay, let's just hope it's more than a side-scrolling brawler. But if it has a similar feel and look, being how close to the movies those ones were, then I'm game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm more interested in what the story is going to be because they're saying it's. The thing I read was that it's a ranger, so it's going to be an Aragorn type character, but not Aragorn himself. So just another ranger that has some other dark story having to do with. They mentioned Sauron and they mentioned Mordor, I believe. So it has something to do with the evil in the east, and he has some dark connection to it. But I mean, details are hazy at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm more interested in that than anything else.
I don't know. You're the Lord of the Rings nerd.
I know,
which is fine. I'm that you got to skip school to go see the second movie, and you know.
I didn't get to. I chose to, but yes,
you got to. No, you get to because if your mom
both.
takes you
I
to
guess
the movie.
Both.
Because if your mom takes you to the movie, you're for sure allowed.
I think in the grand scheme of things, it's better that I missed that half day of school than having missed Lord of the Rings.
Really, Daniel? You don't know what things.
I
never know
guarantee
what
there's
you missed.
nothing important that I was learning at school at that point that was more important than what I watched that day.
Let's see. Oh, so yeah, obviously Uncharted. There's the whole launch party for the PlayStation 4. It was on Spike TV. They showed off the DLC stuff for what's it called, The Last of Us, which is I'll just mention that super quick. It's you play as Ellie before the events of the Last of Us main game happen, and you're with a friend named Jodie, I think, like a young black girl.
Nice.
No, that's about all we know so far. Uncharted. There's a teaser trailer. So we know Uncharted is coming to the PlayStation 4. It wasn't called Uncharted 4, it was just called Uncharted. My guess is that they just don't have a name for it yet, and it probably will be called Uncharted 4. Or, you know what, I take that back. It won't be called Uncharted 4. It'll have a name like one of all the other ones did, like Drake's Fortune, Drake's Deception.
Uncharted Rebirth.
No, not that cheesy.
It's going to be something like that.
Well, the other ones weren't cheesy.
Yeah.
But I think they'll drop the 4 so that new people to the PlayStation feel like they don't have to have played the earlier ones.
Yeah, that's smart.
Kind of like they did with Killzone. They didn't call it Killzone 4. They just called it Killzone Shadowfall. They'll call it Uncharted :
Uncharted Reckoning.
No, it'll be called Drake something.
Uncharted Addendum.
No. Stop it. Those are bad ideas. It'll be called Uncharted : Drake's.
Uncharted, even less Uncharted.
Well,
or even less charted, rather.
Still to be charted. If it's a prequel, you could call it Charting. Uncharted. So the trailer is just it's very similar to the Uncharted 3 teaser trailer. Do you remember that one where they're just panning over like the table and had the map, gun and the coins and stuff on it? Except in that it had Nathan Drake's voice. Voiced by
Nolan North.
Sorry?
Nolan North.
I always want to say Nathan Fillion. Every time.
Very similar.
Every single time I want to say it. Same voice, even. This one, this is a map is being drawn out. Shows the Cape of Good Hope, obviously, which is the southernmost point of Africa.
Yeah.
And then pans around and shows Madagascar, and then an island off of Madagascar, where there's this whole pirate enclave thing. People talk, but people don't know if it's real or not. But it's been written about in actual books about this island off the coast of Madagascar that was home to essentially a private pirate organization it was very like that lived very much in like anarchy and just like group mentality type communism type stuff.
Two very different things, but
yeah.
okay.
Anyways, shut up, Daniel. But anyway, so this guy's voicing it's not Nathan Drake, talking about being left in a hole for over like 15 years and owing me and all that good stuff. There's not that many hints in there. It'd be interesting to see what that means. Is this like former partner of Drake's? Because let's be honest, you can't have an Uncharted game if Nathan Drake isn't in it.
You think so?
Yeah, but it's because Uncharted is Nathan Drake. What about those games makes those games so great, Dan? It's not just the gameplay.
I think it's the story, but
the story.
I think the same writers with a different character could do a decent job. You know,
I think it's the characters. The story is cheesy and generic.
Of course, it's Indiana Jones, and you say, how could you have an Indiana Jones without Indiana Jones? But I'm sure you could. You just somebody with a different name that has a similar aptitude for archaeology and adventure.
Sure, but are they as funny? Are they as quippy? Or maybe
it's a different type of funny, a different type of character. But like
to me, Uncharted.
The differences in that sense come down to the writing, right?
Yeah, I know, I get it. And Amy Hennig, the lead creative person behind Uncharted 3 and 2, is still on board. To me, Uncharted is Nathan Drake.
For the record, I don't think Drake's not going to be in it. I'm just saying he doesn't necessarily have to be, especially if they're doing if they're trying to not say Uncharted 4, but just say a different sort of Uncharted. Maybe it's a different story, and maybe they converge at some point. I don't know if they're trying to build to things or whatever, but I don't think Drake's absolutely necessary to Uncharted.
I think he is. 2/3 of the games are Drake something.
Okay, but like I don't know, man.
Was the second one being Honor Among Thieves? That's the one the second one was called?
I think it's just called Among Thieves.
Among Thieves, yeah. Playing off of Honor Among Thieves, which there isn't any. So, spoilers, no Honor Among Thieves.
I mean, it does make sense to maintain the main character, because otherwise you might as well just call it something else, right? Like, don't call it Uncharted if Drake's not in it. But that trailer didn't have anything to do with Drake.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
It could. That's what I'm saying. So maybe it's just a former partner of his that got caught and he had to leave him.
It was all about like revenge and.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that works. I mean, I think we're at least a year and a half away from.
And we're obviously overanalyzing a stupid 1-minute teaser trailer.
Yeah, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's fine. The other thing that I will say about Uncharted that I'm very excited for is Uncharted. The games have always been some of the most beautiful games. Like the first game I got for the PS3 was Uncharted 2.
Yeah,
and it was a whole other level back then. So I'm very excited to see what this next gen Uncharted looks like.
They've always had the ability Naughty Dog has to take out the best in what Sony had to offer as far as their consoles.
Yep.
And like, whew.
I mean, it's all about the vistas. The characters themselves don't necessarily look.
They don't look bad,
super realistic, but they don't have to, because like, I don't know.
It all fits. It all looks like it works
together. It all
together.
makes sense. It has its own distinct style, but it still looks fantastic, and it doesn't look cheesy.
No.
Even though it really is, you know.
Well, I mean, no one can leap up like that you can't just leap
just
up a
grab
wall.
onto buildings with your fingertips.
Hold by your fingers. Yeah, no. But that's okay because they're video games and they're fun.
Yeah,
and it's just action packed and hilarious.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I've told this story before, but the reason I bought a PS3 was for Uncharted 2. Jeremy brought over was it you? You brought your PS3 or was it Jeremy's PS3? I don't remember. Someone brought over a PS3. Jeremy had Uncharted 2. Popped it in, and I was like, showed that first sequence with the train hanging from the cliff, and I'm like, sold. Sold. I literally went, I don't know if it was that night or the next night, and it was like a Sunday, and I was looking for a like 24-hour 24-hour Walmart or something, so I could buy a PS3 right then. I had to have it.
I remember, like, I bought it, like, I was on the way home from school, and I was on the city of Winnipeg bus, and it was, like, stopped outside of Walmart. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go into Walmart. And then I just fucking bought a PS3 and Uncharted.
And
best decision I've ever made.
I never looked back. And, like, that's, oh, God. Such a good game. Platinum in that game, by the way. You know what? You don't. Okay. My Uncharted 1 is gone missing. I need to have that game. I need to have the whole trilogy.
Why? I mean, that's the worst of the trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Well,
it doesn't mean I don't want to.
Yeah,
doesn't mean I don't want to have it.
I honestly, like, every time I have people over, I'm like, I'm missing something now. I know I'm missing something.
Well, I know you have my
I have your Bioshock,
and I want to play Burial at Sea.
And you have my Universe X.
Yeah, I
comics.
I'm looking at it right now. It's over my corner by my Godfather poster.
Yeah.
I came back from Comic-Con this year, but I had another. I think what was the deal? Buy 3 paperbacks and get 1 for free. Okay. So I bought I think I already mentioned what I got, but I now have an extra. I have another 4, and I need a bookshelf just for my comic books now. I've decided I can't keep putting it off. And I refuse to buy anything but trade TPBs in like physical form, and then all my single issues on my iPad. That's what I'm gonna do, because
that makes the most sense.
You want to give, let's say, okay, you have your bookshelf or whatever, and someone comes over, oh, this is kind of cool, and you're like, okay, well, here's this story about this character that is like one of the best versions, whatever, either be Dark Knight Returns or Batman Rip, which is kind of tough. Don't give that one to a newbie. It's Grant Morrison as like some of his weirdest like crap, but so good.
I think one of the first, like when I was getting back into comics, like one of the, well, not the first, but one of the
Final
first
Crisis?
that I read was Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Returns, you mean?
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns rather. Which is like, it's the kind of story that you need a lot of backstory to understand that character, but like,
but at the same time you don't even.
No, it's cool. Like, I don't know if it's obviously not how you're supposed to have experienced it, but I experienced it that way, and then having gone back and like read all the comics, not all the comics leading up to it, but like having that much more context for it, like it enriched it.
I wouldn't say that you need. Yes, I think that knowing that backstory definitely does enhance your experience with Dark Knight Returns, but I don't think that having needing to know that history with those characters is necessarily important.
Well, I mean, I say that, but like most people like who didn't watch the animated series or don't know much about Batman would go into that a lot blinder than I was. Sure, you know what I'm saying?
But okay, so this is where my counter argument here is Kevin Smith on his Fat Man on Batman podcast talks about all the time how when he was growing up, his interpretation of Batman was the like television series, like the campy as hell one, right? Mm-hmm. And
Adam was, yeah.
He did this. He had this buddy that he ran in that he met at a community center that he eventually ended up making movies with. Still friends now. Who he had illustrate all his Batman comics. Obviously, Kevin Smith has actually written Batman comics at this point, right? The Widening Gyre and the other one,
Cacophony. Which,
but,
by the way,
I really like the Widening Gyre. That's the second one.
Not.
Is the second one the Widening Gyre?
Yeah, Cacophony's the first. Widening Gyre is the second, and like,
I really like them, but I'm not going to get into it right now. We're not going to get into those. Maybe I'll save that. I'll make a note of that one for a later one. Maybe we'll read them and give a review or something.
I have them. I'm looking at them right now. I'll read them, and we're going to have a very different opinion when we get.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll make a note. I'll make a note right now. Case Kevin Smith, Batman. So anyway. Kevin Smith said that he wrote this whole dissertation in like this little paper or whatever in like, I don't know if it was high school, it was probably like junior high, about Batman and what he thought like was cool about it, but it was all based on like his interpretation from the campy ass TV show. And so he took it to this buddy of his and was like, hey, you like comic books, so you read what I wrote. And he's like, takes it, comes back, and this is me paraphrasing his story. He's told it so many times on that podcast.
Okay.
He brings it back. He's like, you don't know anything about Batman. Gives him Dark Knight Returns and says, go read this.
But see, like, that's not what you...
Okay.
I wouldn't want to give that to somebody to be like, understand Batman by reading this.
But you do, though. You understand his psyche better than almost any other book by reading that book. What makes Batman tick inside is from that.
Okay, but like reading that, you have to have some sort of context. If all you know is the Adam West Batman, and then you read that, you're going to be confused about a lot of things.
Sure. I mean, just like I was confused about Final Crisis the first time I wrote it, but I still really liked reading it.
Final Crisis, no matter how many times you read Final Crisis, is confusing.
But all I'm saying is that it's not necessarily, it can be read on its own, and I think enjoyed on its own.
It's meant to be enjoyed on its own. It's not part of the canon, and I don't think it's a great jump off point for people who want to get into comics.
I think it launched what the Batman we see now is directly Dark Knight Returns is directly responsible for the Batman we see now, the dark.
Sure, yeah, it's a darker, more mature, more of a dickhead Batman. As for the record, every time Frank Miller has ever written Batman, he's a dick. That's just what he does.
Yeah,
and that's what he has to be.
He's the goddamn Batman.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't want it any other way, but.
And then
there's more to it than that. And
Grant Morrison makes him a dick. I don't know. Grant Morrison makes him like an all-knowing, like super being, essentially.
Yeah, Grant Morrison makes him a superhero. Well, I mean, he's a superhero either way, but Grant Morrison makes him a super human without even knowing it. You know what I mean?
And Frank Miller just makes him an asshole. A badass asshole, but an asshole.
Yeah, just like a hard line, my way or the highway kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do we get into this whole thing?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, let's move off Batman for a second and let's talk about Thor, because
our podcasts always kind of like just lean towards Batman.
We just can't help it. Every time I talk about Batman, I look up and I have a Batman the Long Halloween action figure and a Mario painting right next to each other, and I just look at that Batman. And I'm like, fuck, that's sick.
I broke my Injustice statue, the Batman and Wonder Woman fighting.
Oh, what? Why? How?
I didn't mean to. I was putting my jacket on and my sleeve hit it and knocked it down and it's broken.
Where do you have it that it's like so, like it was so precariously like?
It's on top of a ledge. I'm gonna glue it back together. It's fine, but it hurt my feelings.
Oh man, I would be devastated.
Also, the more I learn and hear about Kevin Smith, the more I dislike him. Like I liked him a lot more like 3 months ago.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
What about it? Can you?
I don't like. Again, based off of like. I don't listen to his podcast. I don't watch Comic Book Man and stuff like that. But every time I hear him on something or I see him on something, he just seems like such a pretentious like.
I think you're interpreting.
He's
wrong. He's like he just
he's
loves
not an everyman.
comic
No,
books.
he's not.
Daniel,
of course he does. Everybody does. But he's also the type of nerd that I hate because like a lot of people consider us nerds. Whatever. I'm not the type of nerd that like my way is the only right interpretation of this character. And like he just seems like a nerd bully, you know what I mean?
He's not. He really isn't.
He's a bully to what he considers lesser nerds. If you actually listen to his
podcast, you would get a completely different interpretation.
Maybe I should, but I've okay, fine.
Like there's some of those Batman on Batman's, the one with Kevin Conroy and the one with Mark Hamill.
Yeah, of course, because it's
two-parter,
his podcast.
Really long and can be boring at some parts, but also really interesting, especially if you really love the animated series like we did. There's an interesting thing I want to just, before we get off Batman, just looking at this figurine in front of me from Long Halloween. Long Halloween had the Batman with like probably the longest ears, like some of the longest ears, right?
Yeah.
There was just a whole thing on Twitter the other day with Greg Capullo, who's drawing Batman now, with Scott Snyder, about what he thinks about long versus short ears, and he thinks that it makes no sense that Batman would have super long ears. If he was Batman, he's like, if I was Batman, I would have shorter ears. It doesn't make sense. It's not practical to have something that tall, like sticking out the top of your head. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
So, what's your position on long versus short ears?
If you're gonna say that, then no ears would be the most practical, right?
Well, of course, having a cowl is probably very like cumbersome in general. So
the most practical Batman would just be a Batman in a ski mask and like all black tactical gear. You know what I mean? He's just like some dude at that point. The ears are part of like the reason Batman wears costume is to instill fear, right? So the ears are part of that. So
you
the
think
length
longer
of the
ears?
I like it. I mean, like some of my, one of my favorite iterations of Batman is in Superman, Batman. With the Supergirl,
like the animated
what's that one called?
movie?
Yeah, with Supergirl. What's that one called?
Oh, Apocalypse?
Yeah. I think it's Apocalypse or Armageddon, one of the two. And like
Apocalypse, I'm looking at it right here, the Blu-ray.
It's the version of Batman that always has like his cape like really long and like wrapped around himself, so like all you see is like the ears and then like it's essentially a silhouette. Like all black, and very reserved, and he just looks menacing without having.
He also
to
has
move
super
at
long
all.
ears in that movie. Yeah,
Exactly, right? It's menacing. It's demonic. That's the whole point of the Batman symbol. Like the symbolism is that it's a demonic bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am a big fan of long ears.
I don't like the super long ears. I mean, like I was just thinking that version, a little too much for me. A little. I like that idea of the cape always wrapped around with that silhouette look. I really do. I like something in between the short and the long, like a medium length ear is like the perfect for me.
I mean, there's a line, but like when the ears are too short, it looks like a cat almost. It looks like Catwoman.
No, I know. I don't like.
I don't want anything
the...
to do with that.
You don't like Catwoman?
No, I don't dislike Catwoman. I'm just saying that the shorter the ears are, the more it resembles a cat, the more feminine it is, and that's not how I see Batman.
Fair enough. He's like the most manly of man,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of Batman,
not even that. It's just it's not intimidating to have short ears. It looks like a little dinky, like
it's not intimidating.
Like when if you look at the Adam West, like from the TV show, the campy TV series, he has his mask and he has the little dinky ears, but he also has not quite whiskers, but like dimples,
eyebrows
like drawn, they're drawn onto the mask, and that's like the least intimidating thing I can imagine, and that's what I associate with short ears.
I just like the ears from the animated series. That medium length is my favorite.
Yeah.
They are slightly longer, I guess, but not super long, in that square jaw look. So we want to talk about Thor?
Yeah. Okay. We keep talking about Batman. Yeah. Let's talk Thor.
That's right. That was a teaser. If you guys want to hear that review of Thor, it'll be up in a couple days on the same feed, a Tower of Babble special. So keep an eye on your podcast player of choice. It'll be up in a couple days. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at Tower Babblecast. We'll find us on Facebook as well as on Google+. We're on iTunes and Stitcher, if you guys didn't know that already, as well as Podcast Land. So give us some love in all those places so we can maybe get bumped up, get a couple more listeners. In the meantime, enjoy your PS4s if you have them. We'll talk to you guys next week.